my SMU dynasty. After we finish the pod, I got to go play Syracuse. The guy who's the guy who's been controlling Syracuse. He's actually won the ACC the last 2 years, and he has 2 losses on his record that are both ACC losses. So he lost to a dude. So the big loss was his loss to Georgia Tech 2 weeks ago because the dude who was controlling Georgia Tech was not supposed to beat him. And then he also played the guy who has ODU, who, believe it or not, ODU is now in the ACC because ODU is a defending national champion. The dude who had ODU.
That's not surprising at all.
So he played the guy who had ODU, lost. And so really after that, he's supposed to not lose another conference game until then, including versus me. So that way he'd set up the rematch in Charlotte for the ACC championship. Right, sort of like what Bama's going to have to do after this Vanderbilt thing. We'll talk about it later.
Right,
but he plays Georgia Tech and loses at home.
Oof.
So now he has two conference losses. I have 2 total losses. My only 2 losses are the Texas Tech game, which I told you I was using the wrong QB, lost by 4 on the last play of the game, right. And then that Texas loss where Buddy just drug me through the mud. But I've been undefeated in conference play.
Okay, so you are now contending for the ACC crown.
Yeah. Okay. So and we got a dude who has Notre Dame who's in the ACC too.
Why did he pick Notre Dame?
No, listen, between me and you, we get this about the league.
He shouldn't have been let in. As soon as he said, I want Notre Dame.
No, he originally had South Carolina, then abused Nick Harbor and his unbelievable stats and jumping ability. And then from there, got the offer at Notre Dame and went there. Don't worry. You ever not want to deal with the break? You ever not want to deal with like the breakup by like replacing someone and just silently creating something else and just icing whatever Buddy was? So he just thinks everyone just left it.
Yes.
I think that's what's going to happen. So.
Okay.
Anyway, so after this game, so essentially SMU versus Syracuse is a big game in the ACC because it's kind of a de facto playoff game. Yeah. I'm ranked like 11th. He's ranked like 8th or something like that. Maybe it's flipped. So,
I mean, if he has 3 conference losses, that's wrap. Like you're not going to the ACC championship game.
Yeah, I know. Versus me. Now, I will say this: with a loss, I still think if I went out, I still have a chance to make the the college football playoff. I say this because I made the playoff last year with a 9-3 record.
Okay, because it's 12 teams, right?
Yeah,
so you got to add our bid. Okay,
yeah. So, and here's the thing: I've went 9-3 my first 2 years at SMU. So if I go 9-3 again, 27-9 in 3 seasons, I feel like a good team's either going to come calling, or I can keep building in SMU because I think I'm starting to figure it out. I think
you know what you should do? You should accept the challenge and go to UVA.
No. Listen, my goal, the job I really want is the Clemson job. If I don't get that one, then I'm gonna try to find one in the SEC. But I will say, out of all my dynasty leagues, the original SMU team was my favorite one to play with, but my new low-key favorite, Liberty.
Oh, really? They got you hooked in Lynchburg?
I've only been to Liberty for track meets.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so I remember I told you I don't know if I told you, but I joined like this startup league. Well, I kind of started it, but so I started the startup league where everyone's basically taking like, Texas State, East Carolina, not the mid-major schools, smaller conference schools. My original school was Memphis, the University of Memphis. And honestly, that team actually overperformed, ended up winning the conference. Like, here's the thing: the guy that I beat in the conference championship, we played earlier that season, and he drugged me through the mud. It was a lot to a little. Then we met again in the conference championship game. Same QBs, same teams, exact opposite results. I was just running all over him. So I ended up getting a really good bowl. I think I beat Clemson in that bowl game. Okay. And then after that season, I was planning on staying. I just looked at the roster. There were so many seniors on that team that I said, all right, I'm going to graduate with my team. So I took my talents to Liberty because I saw that they had a really, really fast QB, 92 overall, Caden Salter.
Easy decision. All you
So
gotta do is go to church every once in a while.
then I brought in 2 transfer running backs, bruh. That offense. Here's the thing: I'm using the same offense on all my dynasty leagues. So SMU, Oklahoma, Houston, and Liberty. I'm using the same offensive scheme playbook. But the way that Liberty team runs it, with them 2 running backs, it's like lightning and thunder. And one of them, I swear to God, one of my running backs is Christian McCaffrey type.
So, what kind of offense are you running here? Is this like a Lincoln Riley up tempo, or is it very pro style?
It's a multiple offense. That's the name of it in the book. But I'm just using different Really, I'm using a lot of different formations to help kind of run around the same 13 to 15 plays. And then depending on what the defense is trying to do, I'm trying to adjust. My biggest problem is zone coverage. Those windows open and close real fast. So some of them will be open and just like that will be closed. So I kind of throw a lot of interceptions. But at the same time, I really like to run the ball. And what I like about this multiple offense is that it allows me, I will tell you like this. My favorite 2 plays, I like to call them 48 outside, 49 outside.
Not sweeps, just sweeps.
Nah, outside zone runs.
Okay.
2 outside zone runs. Brother, when I tell you I'm going to run that probably like 10 to 15 times a game, because I'm going to get like a 40-yard run at least once or twice. Sometimes I'm going to break it off. And with this Liberty team, I got 2 fast but elusive backs. Thunder and lightning, brother. Thunder and lightning. Thunder and lightning.
You just run an outside zone. All right, Kyle Shanahan.
Listen, I use that, and what I do is I try to bludgeon you first with the run, because I got to see if you can really stop. If you can't stop the run, this is going to be a very annoying game for you, because I'm just going to keep running it. Different formations too. Single back, pistol, gun, wildcat, wishbone. I'm going to find a way to run.
Ain't no way the wishbone is a formation.
Say what?
Is the wishbone is a formation NCAA?
Yeah, depending on the playbook.
Shut up. They got the wing tee. Y'all here running the wing tee?
Not the wing tee, but if I get listen, don't let me get a few scrambling QBs with the fullbacks. I got a few listen. The Oklahoma team ran it pretty well too. Okay. I just don't like their QB, Jackson Arnold, bro. How you doing, my brother?
Oh, I'm great. Life is good. No complaints.
No complaints. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 160 of Speak On It. Shout out Kyle. Shout out Keely. Shout out Bam. I see y'all already in the chat. My name is Losty. Make sure you already know when you see this Nas fade who it is. Of course, every Tuesday, I am joined by the smoothest bald head on the East Coast, Mr. Danny Ocean. He says he's living good. He says he's doing good. Danny, you doing great, right?
Yeah.
Listen, feels like a lot happened. Something big happened this morning in sports. I didn't even have to write it on the docket because I knew we was going to talk about it. Let's start off top of the line. Listen, while we get ready to start talking about Robert Saleh and his firing from the Jets, Keely, Bam, anyone who happens to be watching, if you have any fantasy sit questions, put them in the chat. Danny and I will answer them as we go. But let's start off right in the NFL. This morning at around 10 a.m., and I mean 7 a.m. Pacific time, because I was hooping. I was running morning runs. One of my homies just picked up his phone, looked at his phone and said, yo, the Jets just fired Robert Saleh. The whole gym stopped for a second and said, what? What? I said, there's no way. I went over to my phone. Bingo, Adam Schefter. Breaking. Jets have fired Robert Saleh. Bam, no, by the way.
Don't even acknowledge it. Don't even acknowledge it.
Danny, they fired this man. He had no idea. He just was coming into work on a normal, getting ready to get the game plan going for Buffalo on Monday. Woody Johnson said, here, Mr. Saleh, come here. Let me holler at you real quick. Let me holler at your mom real quick. Yeah, your services are no longer required.
Do you remember how Jay Gruden got fired from the Commanders?
Let's talk about it.
So when Jay Gruden got fired, Jay Gruden drove to the facility, 5 a.m. And same thing. Dan Snyder was like, hey, dog, why are you here? You're fired. And made him drive home in morning traffic. This feels kind of like the same vibe. So I was at New Hire, like I host orientation for our company, and today was that day. So I was busy, and I looked down, and like the phone is just bzz, bzz, bzz. And I almost stopped orientation because there are some dudes in there who are some football fans. Yo, they fired Robert Saleh. But I almost stopped.
You hit him with it. Sorry, y'all. I'm just looking at my phone. The Jets have just fired Robert Saleh. Okay, anyway, back to slide 2 right
here.
Yeah,
like fuck these health benefits, man. Let's talk about Jets firing Robert Saleh real quick. I don't know, man. It's just I'll ask you your initial thoughts on this. I have a lot of thoughts on this and the insanity that's going on in New York.
Robert Saleh's Muslim?
He is.
Woody Johnson's a proud Jew supporter of the Jewish people. He's a proud supporter of the Jewish people, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Didn't Robert Saleh have a patch with Lebanon on it recently?
He did. Are you saying there's going to be another lawsuit?
Aaron Rodgers apparently had no idea this happened.
LOL. All right, man. Now, I do believe that part of the story of like Saleh was about to fire Nathaniel Hackett and Aaron Rodgers called Wynn and picked up the phone and talked to Woody Johnson.
So you think it was one of those things where Aaron called Woody and said, "Hey, I think he's about to fire Nathaniel Hackett. I don't know if that's the right move. I think we can still figure this out. He's
in the way.
This way. Not even he's in the way. It's like we're just a misplay here, misplay there. I don't know if the blame is fully on Nathaniel, right? Like I think it's more of an execution thing. And Woody was maybe like okay, I'll have a chat with him. And maybe he chatted with Robert Saleh, and he was like, "Hey man, I don't know. We don't know if let's not fight. Let's give him some time." And Robert Saleh was like, "You're not going to tell me how to run the team. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And our offense hasn't been producing. We got to revamp this team." And Woody was like, that's what we're not going to do. And if we're going to make a change, it's going to start with you before the OC.
If you
go ahead.
I was saying and we talked about this last week with the Eagles and Nick Sirianni. If you're going to fire your coach 5 weeks into the season, you should have fired him last year. Like if the margin of error is that slim, you should have just canned him last year. It doesn't make any sense.
What does it solve?
What does it? It's week 5. Like everything is still on the table. You're not eliminated from the playoffs. You can still win the division. The Jets are top 10 in defensive DVOA. The defense is not the problem.
It's the offense.
It's the offense.
Which maybe justifies why Robert Saleh was going to be like, "Yo, listen, we can't. This is not Green Bay. We got to do something else on offense."
We have Garrett Wilson, and for some reason, y'all can't find a way for him to get busy. He did across the pond. He got busy on Sunday.
Actually, I would honestly look at that as you saying it as like you can't find Garrett Wilson to get busy. No. Here's what I'm looking at. Yo, Garrett Wilson had like 23 targets in a football game. Yo, Nathaniel Hackett, WTF, dog. You mean to tell me with Breece Hall,
that's true,
Alan Lazard, Braylon Allen, Tyler Conklin, we doing all this? And all you're going to do is force feed Garrett Wilson to make this offense basically predictable?
That's true.
The best you got?
That's the best you got.
So maybe Robert Saleh had some. If this Nathaniel Hackett was getting ready to be fired thing was true, maybe he has some validity in it.
And this happened last year. I think we didn't talk about it enough, right? Like the Commanders were in the air flying to go interview Ben Johnson, and Ben Johnson essentially was like, "Nah, I ain't going over there. Like I'm good on that." Like I wonder if we get to a point where these coaches, especially the big name coaches, start to look at these organizations and they're like, no, I'm not putting my hat in that ring because you guys are morons. I wonder if we start seeing more of that. Because who's going to want that job?
Was it last week on the show when we said, yo, they have spent over $800 million in firing coaches?
Yes, something like that. Like at what point like if you're Ben Johnson, right? Because Ben Johnson's the name everyone's talking about. Even Bill Belichick. What is attractive about the Jets? You fired your head coach week 5, and it's very clear that he was doing his job in regards to like the defense and how they performed. What does that say about? And again, it's like same thing we talk about with the Eagles and Nick Sirianni. Like, sure, fire Nick Sirianni if they lose to Cleveland on Sunday, but what does that say about you as an organization? Like, what attracts a coach to that organization, especially a coach who's had a winning record ever since he's got there?
And how are you eventually going to begin to start building back this franchise? I watched the game. I watched the game on Sunday morning.
You were up that early?
I was in Atlanta this past weekend.
Oh yeah, you were. You were this.
And
okay,
even if I was on the West Coast, yes, I would have been up early watching that game. I watched the game. Yo, I came away from that saying, yo, for the first time, that brother looks old.
He's 40.
That was the first time I've ever watched Aaron Rodgers and said, yeah, my GOAT, he's a 40-year-old man out there playing, ain't he? Listen, why is no one speaking to that? He's out there realizing, yo, he's running away from 25-year-olds.
And he can't do that anymore. I thought he was going to die on the sideline the way he was crawling. I said, oh, he been shot. One of them Brits pulled out a musket and shot that man. He was crawling on the ground.
Hey. All right. Serious question. Most embarrassing man on 4 knees this weekend, Michael Irvin or Aaron Rodgers?
Michael Irvin. At least Aaron Rodgers was playing football. Michael Irvin was on all 4s. Like it was some good luck posture.
Yo, Michael Irvin had me tripping. I was like, nah, Miami just got to lose off the strength of this because this some bullshit, Michael Irvin.
This man is on all 4s on national television.
I can't wait for Robert Saleh to come back as a senior defensive analyst for the Green Bay Packers next season.
Lord, I hope Howie Roseman calls him today. Hey, pimpin'.
Y'all just got a new defensive coordinator.
We could use a defensive assistant.
Get out of here. What are your thoughts on Monday Night Football last night? It was the Saints versus the Chiefs. The Chiefs remain undefeated. What are they, 5-0 now?
5-0.
Listen, they're on they're now on an 11-game winning streak if you count the playoffs from last year. Looks like they're still the undoubted best team in football until someone beats them or someone takes the crown for them. What were your thoughts last night? Derek Carr got hurt.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce was out there kind of getting busy. I seen Juju Smith-Schuster starting to get busy. Kareem Hunt came back kicking them. You know what I mean?
You talked about this last week, and I think you were ahead on this one. Patrick Mahomes is great, but having arguably the best defense in the NFL at your disposal just makes because like that they should not be winning football games. They're down wide receiver 1, RB1. I think the right tackle is hurt. They're down a pass rusher.
Right tackle's hurt. One tackle's hurt, and the other tackle he falls start just about every other damn play.
Every other play. But
you know what? Dawan Jones or whatever.
Yeah. But we got Nick. Man. We got the best linebacker outside of Fred Warner and Roquan Smith and Nick Bolton. We got Chris Jones, arguably the best interior defensive lineman in the league, and we got Trent McDuffie, arguably one of the best corners in the league. Like
they got one of the better corner rooms in the league. Shamari Conner plays pretty well as well.
Yeah, like the fact that they were able to just be like, all right, L'Jarius, thank you, go get paid. See, oh man, like this is just. You text this to me, and we'll talk about the aces later about people who don't want to act like they don't want to see a three-peat. Like outside of the Chiefs fans being extremely annoying, like it's just fascinating to watch them. Who's going to stop them in the playoffs? Because they can win ugly.
They can win ugly. Once they get some of these horses back, remember this is a team without Hollywood Brown.
Yeah. Xavier Worthy's done. Not Xavier Worthy. Rasheed Rice is done for the year.
Yeah,
officially.
Rice. Yeah, Rasheed Rice is done for the year, but they should get Pacheco back sometime this season, maybe. Hollywood Brown will be back. You see how they're using Kareem Hunt. They got Samaje Perine, Xavier Worthy. I believe they're going to start getting him involved as more than just a straight line guy. Obviously, you know about Travis Kelce, Justin Watson's another one. I mean, then you got Patrick Mahomes and the brilliance of him and Andy Reid and how they're able to, I mean,
I don't know, man. Like, who they've beaten the Bengals, they've beaten the Ravens, they've beaten all your faves.
Now you go back and look at that Ravens win, albeit foot on the line. But the way the Ravens just seem to be bullying people, certainly, it's like, damn, we've seen this script before.
Like the only team that seems like a threat right now is Houston, and I feel like they're just a hair too young. Like they're just a tad bit young because we know how the Bills turn out.
I think with Houston, you have to hope that in that matchup with the Texans, that Houston's defense is able to make the plays and apply enough pressure on Patrick Mahomes, because that's where they're going to be most susceptible. Listen, man, the QB play in KC right now, it's outside of last night. It's been a little shaky.
Yeah, he's been turning the ball over at an alarming rate.
Yes. What are your thoughts on the Saints? It seemed like the Saints were in this game until they weren't in this game.
Yeah. I didn't watch much of that game last night because going in and out, I had I
didn't mean to cut you off. There was a pick. Can you hear me still? I'm good.
Yeah, you're good. Okay, you're back.
There was a play last night by Derek Carr. There was a pick where my man, swear to God, he just threw that mug up. He just threw that mug up in the air. It looked like that one Dak threw, only a little bit worse. Derek Carr.
What did I tell y'all?
Yeah. Listen, Derek Carr, I hope for a speedy recovery. They say he's going to be out a few weeks. The guy that they came in, he was kind of slinging that thing too. I know they got Spencer Rattler too. So prayers for Chris Olave fans. Prayers, maybe salute to Alvin Kamara fans. I
don't know, man. If Spencer Rattler get in there, I think they might just let him hang loose a little bit. See what you got. Because I think you can get out of the Derek Carr contract after this year. Let's see. I think your first out is this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Speaking of trying to get out of contracts, the Raiders are trying to get out of the Devontae Adams contract and trade him. Speaking of the Saints and the Jets, who we talking about, both of which are on Devontae Adams' wish list, do you think that's still a thing? He also tweeted something Edgar Allan Poe related, indicating maybe he might become a Raven.
Well, the Jets are off the list. I don't know if I want to go to New York and all that turmoil. Do the Ravens have the assets to give up Devontae Adams? And B, do they want to give up those assets for Devontae Adams? I think this team, it's very clear this is a run first team with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers. There aren't a lot of targets to go around. Zay Flowers seems to be a favorite. Even Mark Andrews falls. If you're Devontae Adams, is that what you want? You're not going to get a lot of targets. I'm not saying Lamar Jackson can't throw the ball because he can, but that offense is going to be Derrick Henry, 25 touches a game, and we'll go from there.
Listen, maybe the Raiders just need to trade him back to the Packers.
Would you want the Packers to give up some of that potential young receiving core for Devontae Adams back? Because I wouldn't.
Romeo Doubs in the second round pick.
Y'all are like the youngest team in the league. Like, just grow together.
True. I'm not. Listen, I'm just throwing bullshit out there. I hope we don't got that. Here's what I would.
I hope you got it.
Here's what I would say.
My bad. Go for it.
I don't think we should trade for him. I think Devontae Adams may be in Las Vegas a little bit longer than he anticipates.
Agreed.
Because
you don't want to go to New Orleans.
Yeah, no one's going to want to trade second or third round pick at this stage of the season unless they know they're receiver needy. Who are the receiver needy teams right now? You could maybe say Baltimore, but I would argue I don't think they do. Isaiah Likely's coming along. He's the number 2 option behind Zay Flowers right now. And
I would say, what about Buffalo? But does Buffalo have, do they have the assets? Because I think they're asking the floor is a second round pick. Okay. You want to give up a second round pick? He's owed a lot of money. Do you want to pay that? Because you just got it from under Stephon Diggs' contract. Do you want to go through that again? Potentially, because we don't know how Devontae and Josh Allen would get along, but it seemed very clear, especially after the Bills Texas game Sunday, that somewhere something happened between Josh and Stephon Diggs where that relationship went south.
You think so?
I mean, you see the memes of Stephon Diggs. Like, yeah, you see it. I don't know what happened.
Stephon Diggs, you a wild boy. I heard about you in the news this week. Is that what we doing now?
I mean, you have done the same thing.
Excuse me? Wait a minute. Wait, hold on. Wait. Time out on the play. Excuse me? What are you trying to say? Are you putting your guilt on me, Ricky Bobby?
Listen, I'll tell you a story when I was in college. One time I was at the mall and there was this pregnant woman who was hitting on me. And I really wasn't paying attention. Like I was just kind of focused on what I was there to buy. And when we left the store, my buddy was like, you know she was hitting on you, right? It flew over my head. But
what'd she say?
Like I don't remember anything. Like, I don't remember what she said, but when we left, he was like, yo, she was like definitely hitting on you. And I was like, damn, I wish I was paying attention.
You don't get no rhythm from her.
Yes, I will. Listen, I used to. Back in the day?
She was not trying to hook up with you, not trying to give you no rhythm. Stephon Diggs, here's what I'm going to say. Was it fire?
Well, you saw that clip of the Family Feud answer keep popping up.
What?
Remember he was on Family Feud and he was playing Fast Money and the phrase was keep it. And he said in. And like Steve Harvey had to like stop the shit. Yeah, Steve stopped it. If I find the clip, I'll send it to you. Yeah.
If you ain't heard that one before, you too young to be doing it to begin with.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
I believe everything.
Speaking of, over the weekend, I flew into Atlanta on Thursday. Coincidentally enough, there was a Thursday night football game that night. No, I was not in town for Bad Blood or the Falcons game. I flew into Atlanta to go see my parents, but I was amongst the Atlanta locals for Thursday night football.
Oh, buddy.
And brothers, it says, let me tell y'all a little story time. Chilling at the bar, a little hookah at the bar. I see my brothers and my peoples, my skin folk. See some brothers over there rolling up a little weed at the bar, smoking what they drank, watching. See some ladies over here. They got the hookah, the drinks. I see a dude on a threesome date over here with his two ladies with the two drinks. They going back and forth between drinking and kissing each other. Then my bar
was at Magic City?
Nah, I was just at a regular bar. In Midtown. Bartender came over, asked us if we want. It's me and my lady. Bartender asked us if we want something to drink. You know what I mean? You get a little something to drink. You get a little hookah too. Then my man says, "Oh, we got food too." Look at the food, man. They had hot honey barbecue catfish nuggets.
The blackest thing I've ever heard.
Hot honey barbecue catfish nuggets. What are we talking about? You kidding me? I looked at the menu. I said, how many is in them? They said 12. Give me them with the fries. Man, when that food touched down, oh my God. It was so good. People was coming. That spot didn't close till like 3:30 in the morning. People were still rolling up in there, getting to-go orders until 2:45.
Oh my!
But back to the game.
What were they? Hold on, one more time.
They were hot honey barbecue catfish nuggets. You making these jokes, but tell me right now fried catfish nuggets.
It sounds delicious. I'm not even hating. I'm just saying I love it.
It was.
But let me guess, it was $19.
No, the food was actually it was around $19 total. It was good, and that's decently priced food
for the nuggets and the fries, or just the nuggets.
The nuggets and fries, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Here's what I will say though. Now, before the food and the hookah come out, we just drinking and watching the Falcons and the Bucks. And Captain Kirk was cooking. Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, and them boys was cooking. It was a great game. It was back. It was forth. It was back, and it was forth. Then it gets to about 1:30 left. Tampa Bay's up. They have the ball. They go 3-0. The Falcons get the ball back. Now, before the Falcons get the ball back, the guy who was working security next door at the food spot I was at has made his way into our bar. And he's a big Atlanta Falcons fan. How do I know? Hair, red and black beads. He's got the Atlanta Falcons hoodie, black pants, bread 13s.
Working security.
Working security. I mean, he had the jacket. The jacket was Atlanta Falcons. His shirt was like security.
Okay.
Black pants, bread 13s. Right. He come in. Hey, dirty bird time. It's dirty bird time. Hey, it's dirty bird. Hey, for every pause, you got to put in the word that you think or you know that he's saying. Think about this, Atlanta. So this is not a pause. This is an expletive.
Yes.
And you know that expletive. So it's dirty bird. Dirty bird. Yeah. Fuck the Bucks. Dirty bird. And I was like, you know what? I'd like to stay and watch. I'd like to stay and watch the rest of this game with this young man. I'd love to stay and watch the rest of this game with this young man. Let me tell you something. Captain Kirk gets the cooking down the field whole time. Yeah, Falcons gonna win this hoe. Falcons gonna win this hoe. And I'm like,
hey, was this Young Jeezy? Because this sounds like Jeezy.
Nah, this ain't Young Jeezy. And I'm just sitting there like, man, Kirk is gonna have to drive down the field. That's a tough ass, man. And he starts just cooking and cooking. He's still going. And this entire time, I'm like, you know, my man over here might have a point. The Falcons might fuck around and win this. They kick the field goal. They're going in overtime. I said, oh, okay. The Bucks going to get this. They're going to go down there and score a touchdown. We out of here. Guess who wins the toss? The Falcons. The Falcons.
Never in the history of that franchise has something worked their way.
And guess what they did?
They won the game.
They won the game. Danny, so let me ask you something. Was this a big choke job by the Bucks, or have the Falcons found something?
Well, I am going to toot my own horn and say that I had the Falcons winning the division. So this was not the Bucks choking. This was the Falcons doing what I thought the Falcons would do. Kirk Cousins give you a certain floor, and that floor is good enough to win that division.
I had the Falcons at 10-7. What did you have them at?
I have to pull it up.
Yeah, I had the Falcons at 10-7. And speaking of which, while we look on that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you of my NFL previews that I had for the season. So let me tell you where I'm at right now. So if we actually, can you pull up the standings too of the NFL standings?
Yeah, I got you.
Let's start with the AFC South. So I had the Titans being 5-12. Might be accurate. Colts 9-8. QB troubles. JT's a little nicked up. Might still be accurate. The Jags 11-6. Boy, was I wrong. Was I wrong? The Jags look so bad, but they got their first win. Shout out to the Jags.
Shout out to Jags.
Texans 11-6. Could still be on to something.
You're on pace for that because they're 4-1.
NFC South. I had the Falcons 10-7, Bucks 9-8, Saints 9-8, Panthers 8-11.
Yep, you're still on path for that. The Panthers might be worse.
Panthers have one win right now.
Yeah, you said 8-11.
Mm-hmm.
For the Panthers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking under on that. I'll say 5 wins.
Give me another division.
Let's go to the AFC North.
AFC North, D. Mixtradamus said the Ravens would be 14-3. The Steelers would be 11-6. Whew. Browns would be 12-5. Boy, was I wrong. The Bengals being 10-7, boy, was I wrong. Steelers have a chance, maybe. Baltimore, I'm going to get that one wrong. I'm going to get that one wrong for sure. NFC North, I don't know. Well, actually, yes, I was wrong here. I had Minnesota going 6-11. They're already 5-0. Chicago at 9-8. I'm going to take the under on that one. Detroit 10-7. That one might hit. And Green Bay at 10-7. That one might hit.
That one might hit too.
NFC West, Rams 10-7. I don't see that one playing through. Cardinals 10-7, Seahawks 7-10, 49ers 11-6.
49ers might be hard. They're going to have to go on a run, especially after last week.
Yeah, because their schedule might intensify. We'll talk about it soon. AFC West, did I say that one? Chiefs 13-4, Chargers 9-8, Raiders 6-11, Broncos 10-7. That Broncos one. Let me tell y'all something. What is the best thing you can give a rookie quarterback? Let's go back to the NFL real quick. What's one of the best things you can give a rookie quarterback? A really good defense or a number one certified killer at the wide receiver position. And the Broncos have given Bo Nix one of the better defenses in the league. They go out there and beat the Raiders, I believe.
Yeah,
they beat the Raiders. Bo Nix is starting to get. Listen, they're starting to get something with Bo Nix.
He getting a little busy, but I'm still not there yet. I do love the fact that he and Sean Payton were fighting on the sideline. That was.
Here's what I'm gonna tell you something. That Chiefs versus Broncos game. It's going to be one of the best defensive games all season. Best 17-10 game we'll see. I know you were watching stress-free football with the Eagles on a bye. Can you give me an update on Devonta Smith as a Devonta Smith owner?
He is cleared to go. It looks like every offensive player that's been missing is back. Like Lane Johnson's back, Smitty's back, AJ Brown is back. So hopefully we can see the same offense that we saw against the Packers and not whatever the hell we've been watching for the past.
So now let me go, because I had a league where I had Devonta and Saquon Barkley. So you're telling me right now, how sure are you that he is cleared to play?
I read today that he and Lane Johnson is clear. Every Eagle that was hurt is back.
All right, so now
offensive.
I'm going to put him back in my lineup now. Who would you drop out of these? Hold on. Let me see if I'm making any waiver claims. Okay, Bucky Irvin won't be on my team. Who would you drop out of these wide receivers I'm about to name to you? So I'm bringing Devontae Smith back to my active roster.
Yep.
My other wide receivers are Amari Cooper, Michael Pittman Jr., Jettas. Come on now. Khalil Shakir and Cortland Sutton.
I'd say Cortland Sutton.
You think based on the wide receivers that I have right now, Cortland Sutton's a number one wide receiver? See, I hate giving up number one wide receivers on their team because I know when plays get tough, that's who they're going to go to.
But Cortland Sutton's been getting busy, right? He's getting a lot of the targets. Like Cortland Sutton, low key, is having a great season.
Yeah, and Josh Allen's my QB. That's why I have Khalil Shakir.
Yeah, but how often are we seeing Khalil get busy? You know what I mean?
I mean, he's had 3 targets, 5 targets, 6 targets, 5 targets, 42 yards and a touchdown, 54 yards, 72 yards and a touchdown, 62 yards last week versus Baltimore.
Now go do Cortland
Sutton. Listen to this. 12 targets versus Seattle, 4 targets versus Pittsburgh, 11 targets versus Tampa Bay, 9 targets versus the Jets, 5 targets versus Las Vegas. 38 yards, 26 yards, 68 yards, 60 yards, and a touchdown. 32 yards last week versus Las Vegas.
I guess for me, it's he's getting the volume. Like he's probably averaging close to double-digit targets a game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would love to know the average air yards for each target. Like, are these legit?
Well, that offense, they're not trying to push the ball downfield with Bo Nix.
Right. So is it Cortland Sutton, on a bubble screen, try to take to the house, or is it a quick dig route, a quick slant, for a first? Is like he's a possession. It sounds like is he being used like a Wes Welker?
But he's also like their number one, so he's like the best one they have. So you can bank on him getting the first touchdown looks and all that.
Yeah. So that's a good question. I would say Cortland Sutton, but like I understand, like Shakir, if he hits, he gonna hit.
Yeah. And I have his QB too. But here's the thing. My other wide receivers are Amari Cooper, Michael Pittman Jr., and of course we also have to remember I have Justin Jefferson and Devontae Smith. That's who I'm elevating to make this decision. That's who. So someone's just getting dropped off the pure fact that there's a better wide receiver.
Well, I would drop Shakir then.
Khalil Shakir then.
I think his boomer bust is just too volatile. Like there's going to be 1 week where he's going to have 7 catches, 100 yards, and maybe 2 touchdowns. But do you want to take that risk?
Here's the other thing. Right now, I'm thinking about benching Amari Cooper, putting Michael Pittman Jr. in my wide receiver 2 spot, Devonta Smith as wide receiver 1, benching Amari Cooper versus the Eagles, not because I think y'all gonna stop him, but I got to see something from that Browns offense. Brother, tell me how the Commanders just straight up beat up on the Browns.
Well, brother, I got some news for you. Deshaun Watson gonna get busy against the Eagles.
You think so?
Yeah, I can feel it. I can just feel it in my body.
Pause. You're saying I should keep Deshaun Watson in my lineup.
No, I'm saying you should keep Amari Cooper in your lineup.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're saying I should keep Amari Cooper in my lineup.
Yes.
Over my other options would be Devin Singletary, Cortland Sutton, Dallas Goedert, Bucky Irvin, because the Vikings are on a bye.
Yeah, I don't know about. Think about Dallas is now that the other guys are back. Doesn't make sense. You know what I mean?
Jake Ferguson, so I don't.
Yeah, I have Jake Ferguson too as my tight end.
Listen. Bam said Riley Moss on the Broncos is the first white corner to get an interception this century. That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
Get this man out the chat. Jesus Christ.
What QBs have gotten their game off versus Philly this season?
All of them.
Let me look at Philly.
Legitimately all of them. Jordan Love got off for a little bit. Derek Carr didn't. Derek Carr struggled. Baker went off. And then week 2, Kirk Cousins kind of struggled, but he came through when it mattered.
Baker Mayfield got his game off for sure.
Yeah, Baker went off.
Will Deshaun Watson do that? Let me see how many pass attempts he's taken. Making a game. Because they're taking a lot. Let's look at last week versus the Commanders.
Because that game was pretty close until like half.
15 of 28. How many targets? Let me just see how many targets Amari Cooper is getting a game. That might help me determine. Because is it like a? Because listen, 9 targets, 8 targets, 12 targets, 8 targets, 10 targets.
Like he's getting the targets. It's just he ain't doing nothing with them.
Last week he was 10 targets, 60 yards, 4 receptions. 4 receptions, 35 yards the week before. 7 receptions, 86 yards, and 2 touchdowns the week before. And then before that was 2 ugly games. And after this game, he has Cincy and Baltimore.
As someone who has watched this Eagles team, I just got a feeling he getting busy. Deshaun finna get busy. Bam, I appreciate your confidence. Bam said Eagles defense is going to destroy the Browns. They were supposed to destroy the Bucks.
Yeah, but I think the Bucks have a better offensive line than the Browns do.
I'll believe it when I see it. How about that?
Listen, I like Devin Singletary kind of at the flex.
That's not a bad idea. Who do the Giants have?
Cincy.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea at all. Now,
I know they had the running back Tracy last week who did good. Singletary's coming off a little groin injury. I think he's going to be.
Do you think that the Giants could fly across country, beat the Seahawks, and then come back and beat the Bengals? Like if the Bengals lose, that's a wrap. Put a fork in them.
Oh, so you're thinking the Bengals are going to win?
They got to. Like, you have to. Like, the Bengals are in a spot where if they lose, that is it. If they lose, it is a fire sale.
So you think the game script will get away from the Giants where they can't run the ball?
I mean, they had no. I'm saying I'm not saying the Bengals are going to win. I'm saying the Giants will probably try to run the ball to keep that offense off the field. Because if the Bengals lose, man, like, that is it. This is your season against the New York Giants, which is crazy to say. But I don't know, man.
Talk to me. Let me ask you about defenses right now. My defense, speaking of the Patriots, I don't know if they played last week. Actually, they did. They did. They played they played Miami. It was an ugly game that we shouldn't talk about. But right now, I have their team defense. I'm thinking of switching one out. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Here are the available ones: Eagles versus Cleveland, Texans versus New England's defense. I mean, Texans versus New England's. Colts, they're playing the Titans. Steelers, they're playing the Raiders.
Okay.
Chargers are playing the Broncos. Packers playing the Cardinals.
I'm gonna do that. So I'm picking up the Eagles in a couple leagues too, which might be a terrible mistake. Now, what was the second one you said? I'm trying to stay away from New England because Drake May is now starting. There's no film on Drake May. There's nothing on Drake May. And who are they playing again? The Colts?
Texans.
The Texans? Well, D'Amico's just gonna. I'm not gonna say D'Amico's not going to blitz what he is, but the Texans have a good defense. Is it in New England or is it in Houston? It's probably New England.
New England.
That's interesting. That's I guess the question is, who's Drake May throwing to? They're probably going to try to run the ball with Ramondre. That might not actually be a bad bet. How is Houston against the run?
Let's
see. Because I feel like they aren't that good against the run.
They've given up 20 points in the last 2 games, 34 points in games before that.
Yeah, so they're middle of the league. They're 17th in the league in rushing. They give 120 yards a game. So I have a feeling that is how they will be attacked if you are New England. So maybe that's not the worst idea ever.
Steelers defense versus the Raiders.
That, because it's Aiden O'Connell now, right? That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea at all.
And then there's the Packers defense, but
do you trust? I mean, McKinney's going to get a pick, so that might be worth the
fourth
squeeze.
rated team defense out here.
That might be worth the squeeze. High key.
Actually, I'm going to put Devin Singletary as my RB2 because Aaron Jones is hurt and he might and on a bye, which means I may just have to put Amari in at flex. Amari or Cortland Sutton or Trey Sermon if Jonathan Taylor can't play.
I go with Amari. He's going to get the target. Even no matter what, he's going to get the volume. Bam said the Chargers are fresh off a bye over the Broncos. Derwin James should be back because he was suspended for that Chiefs game. So he is back. So he's going to be there killing somebody.
Why you got to say it like that, man?
Hey, man, he got suspended because he be out here playing like they're wearing leather helmets.
Hey, but the person who he hit said it wasn't a dirty hit, though.
Yeah, that's what he's supposed to say. As someone who plays football, you don't complain.
All right, so then, what are your thoughts on the Packers and their win versus the Rams for the first time since 1966?
Last time they did that, the Bulls were a new team in the NBA. Like, desegregation had just happened. The Packers were one of my teams to go to the NFC Championship game, and I'm still standing by it.
You think so?
I think the Packers will be in the NFC Championship game. I have said that since before week one.
I'm thinking about picking up Kirk Cousins in a league just because he's on the waiver wire. and I don't want someone else to pick him up.
Yeah, that's called strategy.
Listen, I watched the Packers game this weekend. We started off a little shaky, but when we got rolling, we got rolling. And Xavier McKinney, what a play, what a game, and what a steal of a fucking signing he was. Ladies and gentlemen, that's how you change a football team. You draft good players and you make impactful free agency signings. Shout out to the New York Giants.
Because you don't need the best defense on earth. You just need a defense that shows up and makes plays when you need it.
Bingo.
Bam said the NFC Championship runs through Detroit, and that could very well be the case. But I think the Packers are going to be one of the teams in the NFC Championship game, whether it's in Detroit, Green Bay, San Francisco, Minnesota, maybe Philadelphia, maybe DC.
It's gonna run through the frozen tundra of Green Bay. Question for you. I was having a good chat with some folks, and we were talking about stadiums in the NFL and how I mentioned what if the NFL mandated that most teams have to get a dome? Like which teams would be most hesitant towards it? And I was like, one team that I know for sure would be against it would be the Packers.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
They would be 1,000%. You take that away now, hey, January comes around, might be looking different if we get the home field advantage.
I do think, and I know the CBA, they're talking about adding an 18th game, and some of the players pushed back and said, if you're doing this to us, everyone should have grass. And I think the NFL should mandate grass anyway over turf, because we see what happens to people at MetLife Stadium. Like, that stadium takes lives.
Can I read you this one redraft team? This is the same league I won last year. And I'm just looking at my squad and saying the fact that I even have 2 losses is hilarious.
Go for it.
So right now, my starting lineup is Jordan Love, Jahmyr Gibbs, Alvin Kamara, Stephon Diggs, Jaden Reed, Dallas Goedert, T. Higgins. I'm waiting on a defense to clear from tomorrow. Chris Boswell is my kicker. But let me tell you about my bench. Justin Jefferson.
Jesus. They're on the bye this week. That's right.
Justin Fields, Christian Kirk, Colby Parkinson, Khalil Shakir, Chase Brown. This is a redraft league with 12 people.
Well, Bam about to trade for Christian Kirk, so
Bam's about to trade for, and I'm about to pick up. I'm about to drop Christian Kirk, obviously, and pick up Kirk Cousins. Pick up a defense. I'm just trying to hoard all the good players.
That's strategy.
But I'm just looking at my team like, yo, I'm looking at the power rankings. I need to look at the power rankings again. Yeah, the power rankings have me at second. Yeah. I won this league last year, and the power rankings have me projected to finish second right now. And where am I in the standings? I'm second. But I'm would it surprise you if I told you I'm leading the league in scoring in this league?
No, it would not.
Yeah, leading the league, 673 points through 5 weeks. Let's talk about the Bills and the Texans.
Yes.
So it was clear this game was going to overtime until it didn't go to overtime. 2020, all you got to do is run the ball twice, get them to call their timeouts, punt it. They were going to run it, call a timeout, go in overtime.
Yep.
Sean McDermott decides to throw it 3 straight times.
Not only throw it 3 times, but not high percentage throws. Like, he throwing bombs. He too close to Al Qaeda. He throwing bombs.
I saw someone on Twitter that said, yo, I need to know what reference he is going to make to cover this one.
I don't know. He got a couple options, but like, I understand, again, like, I've said this with the Eagles, I understand throwing the ball to win the game. Like, I am okay with throwing, but in that scenario, if you're going to throw, they have to be high percentage throws. Quick game, get that first down, and see what happens from there. But just to be like 4 verts 3 times, let's do it.
Let's just do it. Yo, you run straight.
Josh, you have an arm.
Yeah, he was like, "You run straight. You run that way." Then
You run a post.
Then I'm looking at it, I'm like, yo, you're just gonna give the ball back to a team that's with a kicker that's been just kicking 50-yard field goals with ease all season?
In a dome, no less.
Yeah, in a dome. There's no wind to even take this thing off.
Just pure dome. But yes.
What
Clock
other
management.
what other teams do you think would be hesitant against a dome?
I really think it's just, I would say New York. I would say the Packers.
What do you mean, New York, like the Giants and the
Yeah,
Jets?
because there's the
All you gotta do
crosswinds
is
at MetLife. Yeah, like that's apparently an advantage for the home team. The
there's what?
wins, they call the crosswinds, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it affects both teams, but I know that's an issue there in New York. Green Bay would be against it because the Bills are about to build a new stadium with a
Wait, but I don't understand
retractable.
crosswinds.
The win, I believe the win coming off the river is a little bit more intense in New York, and for some reason that's a thing, if I am not mistaken, but I could be mistaken.
No, that's the same reason why the kick went wide right a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Versus the Broncos. Okay.
So I guess it depends on what direction you're going in.
What about Chicago?
I think Chicago would be open to a dome, to be honest. I
so?
don't know if they would oppose it because the cold is not. Well, you're an NFC North fan, and Kyle is too if you're in here. Did the Bears hang their hat on that? Like Green Bay, the frozen tundra, like y'all hang y'all hat on that.
I think if and when Chicago wants to get a Super Bowl pretty soon,
they're gonna get a dome.
They're gonna get a dome, which I think is how they're going to basically use that to entice owners and cities to build new stadiums.
Who wants to go to Chicago for the Super Bowl, right? Like at some point you got to reckon. I mean, people went to Minnesota for the Eagles Super Bowl.
Yeah, I was just going to say. So you don't want to go to Chi-Town?
I would. I believe
all these teams are in cities where you ideally would think a Super Bowl could be hosted, except Green Bay.
Yeah, I just believe the Super Bowl should be in warm other cities. That's just a bias.
I mean, when you look at where they've been played ever since that MetLife Stadium one, that was the one where they was like, "No, we're not doing this shit again.
We're not doing this shit again."
Yeah.
Either you in a dome, or again, Minnesota's in a dome.
It's either in a dome or in Florida or California, and then you got to sprinkle in Arizona and New Orleans because they'll always rotate there.
As it should be, because it should be a reward to go to the Super Bowl. I shouldn't have to fly to where it's -3 degrees. That does not sound fun to me.
Yeah, but it's also February, so in the Northern Hemisphere. Talk to me about your thoughts on Dak Prescott saying, "I'm him," basically, versus that was a really good game. It was a really good but stinky game.
It's important to know that you can win ugly games. So if you're Dallas going on the road, arguably the best defense in the league, and pulling that out even after Dak's ugly turnovers, I know there's going to be the ineptitude of the Steelers offense and how far can Justin Fields really take you, which is a legit question. But if you're the Cowboys, again, not every game is going to be 35-15. Like there are going to be some ugly games that you have to win. They won an ugly game, and that's all that matters.
Listen, that's why you get paid the bucks, Dallas. That's why you pay him the money.
That's what the money is for.
Right. Listen, when you go back, ladies and gentlemen, and you say Dak Prescott this, Dak Prescott that, I want everyone to know you can put Dak Prescott's regular season numbers up with every with all 32 starting quarterbacks. He'll be right near the top. It's the post.
So he's gonna be right at the top.
He'll be right at the top. What are your thoughts about the Niners getting stunned by the Cardinals? They had like a 80% chance of winning the game midway through the fourth and still found a way to lose the game.
As someone who watched his team win a game that they had a 99% chance of winning, I get it. They're gonna have to go on a run. Like
what game was this?
The Eagles and the Falcons.
Oh yeah.
They're gonna have to go on a run. I know they're waiting for people to get healthy, but the clock is ticking. But luckily, you're in a division where no one else is good enough to like run away, so you're kind of okay. I think if your plan was the 1 seed, it's not out of reach, but it's probably not going to happen. Like Detroit has a lead. The Commanders, God bless them, have the lead. Like, I don't know if you're going to make up that much ground.
You mentioned Detroit. They played Dallas this weekend. I'm looking at a lineup in the fantasy league I have.
Mm-hmm.
Here are the running back twos in my options because
Okay.
my RB1 is Saquon Barkley. Rashad White versus the Saints. Rico Dowdle versus Detroit. Najee Harris versus Vegas. Bucky Irving versus the Saints.
I want to say Bucky Irvin, but Najee against the Raiders. I don't think the Raiders are good against the run either.
Do you like Najee and the versus the Raiders' inability to stop the run, or Rashad White's ability to catch passes out of the backfield
Mm.
and run? You just know that Bucky Irvin also with carries.
Yeah. Vegas is ranked 23rd in the league with 131 yards per game rushing. Is the game home or away for the Raiders? Are the Raiders on the road?
Both the Raiders and the Buccaneers are on the road.
The Raiders average 145. They give up 145 yards rushing on the road this year.
No. The Raiders are at home.
Oh, okay.
The Raiders are at home and the Saints are at home. So Rashad White and Najee Harris, let's just say, are on the road. Dallas is playing at home versus Detroit. And we saw last week Rico Dowdle.
I'm not buying the Rico Dowdle just yet. So the Raiders average 100.
Okay, here's my thing. If you can do it versus the Steelers, why can't you do it versus Detroit?
That's true. I just need to see it more. Like, I need to see it before I start throwing him in my lineup. But I understand if you do. And the Raiders average, they gave up 111 yards rushing at home on average.
Detroit is the third best team versus the run, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know about that one. But then again, come back to the scene of the crime of last year where a lot of people thought Detroit got robbed in that holiday game.
Maybe I leave Rashad White in. He can catch pass out the backfield.
Yeah, I'm leaning Rashad White, Najee, Bucky, and then Rico last.
Mm-hmm. Just need someone to offset Saquon.
Yeah.
This week I'm gonna start Brandon Ayuk and Jaden Reed as my two wide receivers.
That's bold starting Ayuk.
He had a pretty good game last week.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad he showed up.
12 for 147.
Okay. Yeah, start him.
I don't know what I'm gonna do about a tight end and shoot.
What are your options?
Evan Ingram, but forget him. I might pick up Isaiah Likely or Zach Ertz.
Oh yeah, Isaiah Likely. Start Isaiah Likely.
Yeah. Find me a little defense. Eagles defense, Texans defense. Oh, I think we already asked this. All right. Talk to me about your fantasy teams. How'd they perform this week, my brother?
Oh, it was a rough week. 1-2.
Ronald Isley's tax returns. 0-2 since the Ronald Isley's tax returns.
Well, I knew this week was going to be rough because half of my team was on a bye. Like Detroit was on a bye, Philly was on a bye, Tennessee is on a bye. Half my team was on a bye week. I really won't trip about this week. We back. Devontae's healthy. Like, my team is starting to get healthy right now. Have some good options. Like, I feel okay. And if anything happens, I have the assets to go get what I need.
What do you need? Because you need something, brother. We told you your team is fool's gold.
Like I said in the chat, whole lot of chatter from people who ain't never sniffed a championship in this motherfucking league talking to me. Whole lot of pitter patter for cats that ain't even been to the championship game talking to me.
Man, you listen
to me.
But your reign at the top was short like leprechauns.
I've been to the top. You ain't even seen it.
Your reign at the top was short like leprechauns.
My head's been in the clouds, baby. You can't even get off the ground.
Let me tell you something. The Las Vegas Horned Ducks are
losers.
Come playoff time, we are probably going to be
at home.
I didn't have my horses last week. Malik Neighbors was out.
I ain't had my horses last week. What you talking about?
Your horses don't. Your horses are ponies.
All right.
You ain't got no value.
I'm going to be unbearable if I win the league this year. I'm coming for all y'all.
You gotta beat Bam first.
Consider it done.
Oh shit! Bam said he can't wait to take you down.
Pause.
He said no pause. That's what Bam said, not me.
Well, hold on. Let's look at this matchup between Bam. Because Bam low key has a good roster. Or he had Lamar, he got Najee, he got Alvin, Stephon. Those are his horses. Because ain't nobody else doing anything. Who do the Ravens play? Oh, Washington. I am looking forward to that game because I think the Commanders are fool's gold. But I can't say that because I'm a hater.
What?
They haven't beaten a team with a winning record. That's all I'm saying. Let's see how he look against Baltimore.
When they play? Oh, they play this week?
They play this week at home. Who cares? Because Baltimore and Washington are next door to each other.
Hey, Jaden Daniels, you got to.
It's time, young blood. You ain't.
Yep. You got to
ain't beat nobody winning a record all year. You face the Bucks, got throttled.
You got to make sure you slide, brother. Yeah, slide, brother, slide.
Yeah, that running ain't gonna work this week. Kyle Hamilton will kill you, and I'm not saying that metaphorically. He will literally kill you.
Would you start the Colts defense? I feel like I got to take a chance on the Eagles defense versus the Browns.
I am. I'm going to regret it, but I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to take a chance.
Hey, you got to fight for your right to party.
But yeah, my horses are healthy. I'm very interested to see how this looks against Bam.
Don't get smoked by Bam now.
Hey, if it happens, like I said, if I'm at a point where I think I need extra juice, I have what I need to go get it.
Now, if you were me, would you start Jake Ferguson against the Lions or Tucker Kraft versus the Cardinals?
That goes back to targets. Who's getting these targets?
Tucker Kraft last week. I don't know if you heard. 5 targets, 88 yards, 2 touchdowns. He has a touchdown and 1 touchdown in his last 2 games.
Okay. So he's being targeted. That says Christian Watson's out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Will Christian Watson be out this week?
He's on IR.
He is?
Mm-hmm.
Damn. I hope that opens up a roster spot over at Ronald Isley's tax returns.
I might have to start Tucker Kraft.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
I feel like Detroit's going to be tough on the tight end, and CeeDee Lamb's going to get his game off after last week.
Damn, Christian Watson always hurt. God damn, man. He the X factor over here at Ronald Isley's tax returns.
Man, Ronald Isley's tax returns ain't doing nothing, man.
All right. I'm going to be quiet because it's a long season. But let me tell you, if I win this league this year,
you can huff and you can puff, but we know you ain't blowing nobody house down. With
2 out of 3. 2 out of 3 years, if I'm the champ, I get to name the league.
Nah. Listen, Cletus, we don't think your team not all that.
All right. I'm not saying they are. I'm saying when the dust settles come February, and if I'm on top, y'all going to feel my wrath. It's going to be like Austin at King of the Ring.
No, brother. Speaking of dust settling, there was a lot of chaos dust in the college football world. Lord have mercy.
Lord have mercy.
It was the first chaotic week of the season before this week, which everyone had circled to be a big week in college football. Listen to this. Syracuse beats UNLV in a thriller 44-41 on Thursday. Vandy upsets number 1 Alabama for the first time. Arkansas beats number 4 Tennessee. Texas A&M beats number 9 Mizzou. Washington beats number 10 Michigan. Minnesota beats number 11 USC. SMU beats number 22 Louisville. And UVA beats Boston College and is fighting for an ACC appearance. ACC title game appearance. We know they're not winning nothing.
4-1.
I can't wait for y'all to play Clemson. Do y'all have them on the schedule this year?
I don't think so.
This would be This would be the year y'all would get them on the schedule after being good.
They do. They play Clemson in 2 weeks.
I told you. I'm telling you. Listen, I'm going to watch that game just because you put this on the docket. I can't wait to watch Clemson do heinous things to your team.
Okay, so here's the lineup. Louisville at home Saturday, then at Clemson, then North Carolina at home, then they go to Pitt, then they go to Notre Dame, then home versus SMU, and then in Blacksburg versus Tech. They can do it. Oh, they can do it. I believe. I'm hooked. I'm in. All you got to do is win 2 to be bowl eligible, which is
I think they about to punish y'all.
All right.
They about to punish y'all.
Say what you want. They ranked higher than Tech.
Hey, in this league, this is another league I think I'm about to win in. So my QBs right now are Geno Smith, Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Burrow. I'm going to start Joe Burrow this week versus the Giants.
You should.
I got Jahmyr Gibbs and Kenneth Walker as running backs.
Yep.
Listen to these wide receivers because it's getting hard for me to pick who to start. CeeDee Lamb.
Start.
T. Higgins.
Maybe.
Stephon Diggs.
Start.
Jaden Reed.
Oh. How much has Jaden Reed's uptick since Christian Watson's out?
Brother, let me tell you something. Jaden Reed with Christian Watson is getting his game off.
Well, the Packers better than me.
I mean,
but I might do Jaden Reed. Huh?
He's our number 1 wide receiver.
Well, I would put in Jaden Reed over T. Higgins then.
But I have T. Higgins as quarterback.
That's true, but I mean, we've seen Jamar Chase really start to get busy. That little training camp rust is gone because he didn't attend. And now he
All right, so in the last 2 weeks, T. Higgins has had 10 targets and 14 targets. His first game back, he had 6 targets.
And he scored last week, right?
Twice. He had 14 targets, 89 catches, 83 yards, 2 touchdowns. And they're playing the Giants.
And what about...
And they're at New York, 1-4.
Fuck it, start T. Higgins.
So then maybe I don't... Here's the thing. Maybe I don't start Stephon Diggs because they go to New England.
That's fair because Christian Gonzalez. But, man, Nico Collins came back in the game, right?
Yeah, Christian Gonzalez will be covering Stephon Diggs, and Nico Collins is week to week, not day to day.
Okay, so he out Sunday.
Yeah.
It's not Christian Gonzalez is in lockdown. Stephon Diggs is a very savvy route runner.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know how much opportunity will be there.
I just can't not start CeeDee Lamb. You got to start him.
He can start.
Jaden Reed's the number 1 wide receiver on a team that's missing its fastest wide receiver. And
so now it's just
T. Higgins. It's T. Higgins or CD. It's T. Higgins or Stephon Diggs.
I do T. Higgins.
I'm keeping T. Higgins in. This is a really good team too, I think.
Sound like it.
Listen, I'm ranked. I'm tied for 2nd in the league, and I have the 2nd most scored points. And that's my highest league. That's my highest paying league too. 900 big ones. All right, getting back to college football. Bam says Vandy fans can march a goalpost through downtown through it in a river. Bro, yes, I wanted to get your thoughts on that because they got fined for it, by the way. The AD's fined, the SEC fined them. But I just thought about that. I said, yo, so some can take a goalpost and just walk the streets and the police just get an escort?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Yes.
You don't think that's funny?
It is what I expected.
Okay.
I've never seen students rush the field so politely in my life. They were so kind to each other.
They were unsure of what just happened. Yo, Bama, that's like Bama's first ever loss to Vanderbilt ever.
Shout out to Nick Saban. Nick Saban said that's the easiest place to play.
Speaking of which, let's look ahead to week 6 in college football. You know I love a good Friday night football action. This week we got number 16 Utah versus Arizona State. Who do you think?
Utah.
They're at home. I like the Sun Devils. Give me Arizona State.
Really? Okay.
Alabama, they fell from number 1, 6 spots. Now they are number 7. This week they play at home in Tuscaloosa versus the South Carolina Gamecocks. Who you got? Bama bouncing back or South
Yeah,
Carolina?
I got Bama bounce. I think it's going to be a hard game, harder than most people think, but I think Bama wins.
South Carolina played LSU tough, but I think it's going to be a revenge game after what happened last week. I think Alabama's going to be focused. I think we're going to get a really good Alabama team that we see on Saturday. Give me the Crimson Tide. Your team's going to see in 2 weeks, the Clemson Tigers. They travel to Wake Forest to play the Deacs. Do you think the Deacs have an upset?
No, not yet. The Clemson upset special is coming. I just don't think it's this week.
Mm-hmm. Listen, Cade, he looks like a quarterback right now. Dabo's rolling. I like Clemson. Red River rivalry time. One of my favorite games in all of college football. Texas versus Oklahoma. Texas back in at number 1. Oklahoma at number 18. Mm-hmm. They're playing, they play at the Cotton Bowl. What do you think?
I want to pick Oklahoma, but I can't pick against Texas. Texas is the best team in the country. You about to do it?
There's something about when these two teams get together as of recent. There's just a voodoo on. It's just a voodoo for the Sooners that they're able to pull away some of these close games. One of my dynasties are the Sooners, so this may be a little biased. Give me Oklahoma on the upset. I think it's going to get real chaotic. Number 4, Penn State versus Southern Cal. Who you got?
Time for the Penn State upstate. We starting to believe in Penn State. You know what that means? Time for them to wet the bed. Give me SC.
I actually like SC as well. SC lost that game last week versus Minnesota, and I think they're going to be playing at home. I think they're going to be re-energized. I actually like Southern Cal in this one as well. One of the better SEC East rivalries. I know there's no divisions, but one of the better SEC East rivalry games. Florida versus number 8 Tennessee. Do you got Tennessee bouncing back this week?
I got Tennessee beating the piss out of Florida.
Yeah, they're playing in Knoxville. I like the Volunteers.
And there's too many real life things happening to the state of Florida. Like if they aren't really focused, I would not blame them.
Mm-hmm. Number 9 Ole Miss versus number 13 LSU in Baton Rouge.
Who do you trust more, Lane Kiffin or Brian Kelly?
Listen, these are two really good offenses. I think Jackson Dart might be the second best QB in America behind Shedeur Sanders. I like the Rebels on the road.
Me too. And I trust Lane Kiffin more than I trust Brian Kelly.
Number 18, Kansas State versus Colorado.
Colorado has surprised some people, especially that win at UCF. This is another one that's going to be closer than I think people realize, but Colorado's offensive line is still the Achilles heel. If you can rush the quarterback, you can beat Colorado, and you can beat Colorado rather easily. I'm going to take Kansas State in a game that's going to be very close, and I feel like Kansas State's going to pull away at the end.
Listen, the Wildcats can rush the passer. They got a white boy with long hair at QB.
Well, never mind.
But you crazy if you think I'm picking against Coach Prime. Give me Colorado for the upset, and damn it, they're going to be ranked after this week.
If they win this week, they will be ranked.
Of course, the big game of the week. It's right down the street from me. Literally 60 minutes, and I'm there. The people around me, they're selling tickets for upwards of $1,000, people.
Okay, I was going to say, you going?
No, I will be DJing on Saturday night when the number 2 team in the country, the Ohio State Buckeyes, travel over to Eugene to play the number 3 ranked Oregon Ducks in what is already being deemed as one of the biggest games of the year. Danny, tell me, do you see Oregon pulling off the upset at Autzen Stadium this Saturday?
No. There is.
Either.
Here's the thing. Pac-12 football and Big Ten football are two totally different styles of football. SC learned that when they went to Michigan, and I think Oregon's about to learn it at home against Ohio State. I trust Ohio State more in bigger games than Oregon. I don't know what Dylan Gabriel's going to look like at home. I'm taking Ohio State.
What Swagoo once said. It's all about the trenches.
You sound just like him.
Let me tell y'all something, man. I just want to know who's gonna cover these receivers that Ohio State has.
I don't know.
Between Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Ebuga.
Godspeed, man.
Brother, Jeremiah Smith making some of these catches. I'm like, all right, dog, chill out, man. Chill out.
Because he's a freshman, right?
Freshman. Fresh off
Dog,
the boat.
you got 2 more years before you can go to the league. Chill out.
He 1 year older than my baby brother.
That's crazy. Yeah, you know what's funny? Like when I watch football now, and it's like, oh, he's 32. He's the oldest corner in the league. And it's like, Jesus.
Yeah, so you looking at yourself like,
what?
I'm old.
I am washed.
I am big time washed. Going back to Atlanta, Bad Blood was this weekend. Let's run through some results and get overall thoughts at the end. CM Punk beats Drew McIntyre in what was a 10 out of 10 beatdown of 2 bloody men. Rhea comes up just short versus Liv Morgan again, thanks to Raquel Rodriguez. Although Dom was funny as hell hanging from that cage. Damian Priest beats Finn Balor. The Rock and Jimmy Uso return as Cody and Roman win, and he comes out there, doesn't say nothing. It's just straight aura. He just straight aura them off. He just hit him with the.
Did you see his promo after?
Oh, watch the whole thing. The final boss says, hey, did you see what did you watch the whole thing as he was walking through?
Yes.
He dapped up one man. He said, yo, if the final boss had a sister, he would introduce you to. I was like, yo, this guy, you know, he still loves this shit at heart. That was good, brother. It's good, brother. Nia Jax hit a Hurricanrana on her way to a title defense. I want to know where you want to start. Do you want to get serious and talk wrestling, or do you want to hit jokes?
Shout out to Nia Jax. I was so impressed.
Listen, I found out. I saw that Nia Jax Hurricanrana, and then I found out that Lizzo had a little bit of work done to her body, maybe like a day later. And I'm saying, yo, what is going on in the world of the big finds?
People her size aren't supposed to be able to do that.
Yo, Nia Jax, listen.
They're not supposed to be able to do that. And she did it.
Hey, look,
shout out to Dom's core, by the way, because if I was hanging upside down like that, my whole abdomen I'd have ripped in half.
You think so?
Yeah. I ain't got the core like that no more.
But you be hitting the core.
I do, but I ain't got a core like. Let me tell you, if I fall out of cage upside down, that's a wrap. Something breaking, something tearing.
You act like you that fragile of an old man.
I know my body, and I know I cannot do that.
I know my body. What are your thoughts on the aura off that The Rock had? What do you think the 1, 2, 3 meant?
I think it meant Solo has lost his 3 biggest matches, and now it's time for the adults to come into the room.
Of like, who's the new tribal chief now?
Well, I think The Rock is going to team with. I think the biggest thing about Rock's promo is he walks by that picture of Dusty, and it's like, love you, hate your son. If he still hates Cody and Roman teamed with Cody, then the logical thing is Rock's going to have beef with Roman because you teamed up with the ops to fight your family.
You think that's how he's going to flip it?
He has to. That's the only thing that makes sense.
Because he said, well, I didn't get a call from the final boss. I didn't get a call from the original tribal chief. The final boss never got a call from the original tribal chief about how to deal with this annoying yada, yada, yada Solo Sikoa.
You got to keep this in house. You don't bring outsiders in. I promise you, he's gonna say that. You don't bring outsiders in the family business.
See, where do you see this playing out?
Survivor Series. Oh, this has only problem is how do you get Jey Uso in the mix?
Yeah, Intercontinental Championship. I think Solo's going to cost him the belt, which is going to bring him in.
Yeah, I think that's that's how I think that's how it's gonna get played too. Did you see the heel turn? Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens,
genius. Yeah. Like shout out to Triple H, man.
That was
like,
funny.
That was funny. It was genius.
In a way, they're preluding what The Rock, maybe, and Roman Reigns. So in a way, they might do some shit like reverse psychology. They seed the Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes plant talk to then have The Rock and Roman do the opposite.
Interesting.
Because remember, the original New Solo Sikoa crew is 4, right?
Yeah.
4-on-4. Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, Roman Reigns, The Rock.
I would be down for that. I would rather see Rock and Roman more, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's WrestleMania. So now you got to think through, okay, how do we get to Rock and Roman at WrestleMania? Well, now you got to get something for Survivor Series. You got to get something for Rumble. And then in that space in between, you got to be able to build up to WrestleMania.
Okay, so yeah, I got you. So Rock and Roman team up to get the new bloodline in line, and then Rock and Roman fight for the bloodline. I got you.
Just my thoughts. Yo, Triple H, if you ever,
brother, I've been watching Mr. McMahon on Netflix. Wow, boy. He did all that shit. Like, I'm on the Attitude episode. He did that shit.
NBA preseason's underway. Nothing much more to say other than we finally saw LeBron James and Bronny James in an NBA game together for real this time.
Beautiful. Can't wait to see it in regular season. Laker fans, you ain't got a lot to be hopeful for, but at least you can see that.
That's crazy. Playoff baseball right now is going crazy. Yo, the real California beef is hilarious. They did all this beefing with Canada just to really beef over the Padres and the Dodgers. But it's real right now.
California, a weird place, man.
But they really beefing like that. Apparently, these teams really don't like each other. But I mean, I guess when you think about it, the Padres, they don't spend as much money, and you see how the Dodgers are just LA Hollywood, and yo, that motherfucker show Ohtani.
I don't watch baseball. That boy bad.
I don't watch baseball like that, but I just don't understand how. Listen, these foreigners come and they make our sports look so easy. The WNBA, man. Damn. The Aces. It's over. 3-peat. It's over.
It's over.
They lost in 4 games to the Liberty, arguably the best team in basketball. The run for the 3-peat is over. Now we got to go for 3 out of 4.
Which is still impressive.
Still impressive, but we got to go for 3 out of 4. It should be a new type of hunger.
I'm interested from the Aces side of the things. At the press conference after the game, someone asked Becky Hammon about the team, and she's like, oh, yeah, this team's going to look different next year, which is sad because I love these girls. And Kelsey Plum is a free agent. I'm very intrigued to see if Vegas can keep the core 4 together. How do you build around the core 4? Because Chelsea Gray...
Maybe you don't build around the core 4 and you take a core out and hope to get a core 3 and build more depth.
Yeah, but Kelsey Plum's only 30. Like Chelsea Gray just turned 32. Kelsey just turned 30. Jackie's the youngest, I believe. Yeah, Jackie's 27. She ain't going nowhere. And Asia's 28. I'm just intrigued to see, like, do you get rid of Chelsea or Kelsey? And if you do, what do you get to replace that? Because there's going to be a time where this team, right? Joe Douglas was the Eagles' old GM. His philosophy was, I'd rather be a year early than a year too late. So would you rather get rid of Chelsea Gray at 32, coming off a broken foot, playing with not a prosthetic. She had something in her shoe for support. Or Like how do you play this? I'm just intrigued by that. Like, what do the Aces look like
Listen,
next year?
here's what I think. If you're the Aces, you got to keep Asia. You got to
Oh
keep
yeah,
Jackie
Asia.
Young,
Yep.
right? And then you got to keep.
Plum.
Are you sure?
That's the thing. Like, who do you pick, Plum or Gray? Gray is older, but Gray is a bucket in the clutch. Like, there's something about her when the game get tight, you just know she gonna shine.
Is Kelsey's Achilles heel defense really?
No, she's a great defender. She's a great 3-point shooter, but she has a very clear ceiling. Or if you're the Aces, do you say to yourself, it was an Olympic year, 4 of our 5 starters were playing heavy minutes in where the in Paris this year. If that were not the case, we can make and Chelsea Gray started the year off on with a broken foot. Like it took her a while to get back in rhythm, and you were still the 4 seed. Like, can you say to yourself, "Hey, man, we just need to replace some role players, and we're right back at it"? Or do you say, "How do we really look at this? How do we judge this?"
What were some areas statistically that they struggled in? Rebound them?
I wouldn't say rebound. I would say more so chemistry, because again, like Chelsea Gray, she really didn't play in the beginning of the year because she was coming off a broken foot. By the time they started really getting into a rhythm, you got the Olympic break. They go to Paris, they play heavy minutes, and then you come back, you go on a bit of a run, and you still get the 4 seeds. Like, you still get a top 4 seed, and nothing really went your way. Like, if you're the front office, do you say, "Hey, man, let's give it one more go and see what happens"?
Give it one more go with minor tweaks.
Yeah, let's build around the core 4. But enough about the losers. Shout out to Sabrina Ionescu.
Listen, the Liberty, they've been the best team all season. I expect nothing less when they go to the finals. Are the Sun and Lynx still at war?
No, so it's halftime and the Lynx are up 19. So the game is not over, but Minnesota, New York, collision course, best 2 teams all year. I will say I'll give the edge to you because again. So, did you watch the finals last year?
I watched the last 2 games.
Well, if you remember in New York, Sabrina is on the sideline throwing up because the lights are too bright. Like, she got a trash can hurling, and now she's the number 2 option, like a legit 2. Like, shout out to her. Like, that's
dedication to the game.
Yeah, the lights have not been too bright. She was an Olympian this year. I think that has helped her confidence tremendously. Like, you can make the argument she's number 2. Jonquel Jones is number 3.
Let's talk about it.
And I would not push back at all. Jonquel's the better rebounder, but she gets into foul trouble. She does stupid shit all the time. And Sabrina's just there. Like, she is the engine. She gets Breanna Stewart the space she needs to operate below the free throw line because she's such a threat outside.
So, assuming that Minnesota goes on to win this series versus the Sun, who do you have, the Lynx or the Liberty?
I'll take the Liberty in 5 only because I think Sabrina is more consistent than Kayla McBride. So Kayla McBride, I believe she leads the league in 3-point shooting. She's been on fire this year.
It's 5 games or 7?
It's 5. I think it'll be game. I'll say the Liberty in 7, but Nafisa Collar finished second in MVP for a reason. But again, how does she handle Jonquel Jones' size? Because she's going to have to either guard Jonquel or she's going to have to guard Stewie. And that's a tough assignment.
Can you lock in and beat your opponent after you beat the biggest op that you really thought you ever had?
That's another thing for New York.
Lynx.
So you think New York won their championship Sunday?
I think they will be down 2 games before they realize they got to snap out of it.
That's fair. Like Nafisa Collar, we were talking back in, was it late May, early June? I was arguing to myself, maybe I should put money on Nafisa winning MVP.
I do remember that.
And then Asia said no, but she finished second.
She quickly did that. The Padres and the Dodgers are getting ready to have first pitch. Let's go to the comments real quick. So, speaking of which, Kyle said Ohtani should have been in Canada, but of course, the freaking Dodgers. In regards to our WNBA chat, he said, I got to say, game 3 of Liberty versus Aces, especially that first half, was amazing. I think there were about 18 lead changes, and the pace was so back and forth and quick. Really, 2 of the best quarters he's ever seen. Danny, he said in response to you, if you remember correctly, Sabrina got shut down this year in game 3, but she had a great bounce back performance in game 4. She didn't quite have that same resiliency last year. Shout out to Sabrina. Shout out to Liberty. Hey, here we go.
John Quell, stop doing stupid shit. Please.
Shohei Ohtani leading off bat.
Oh, it's not. We need to wrap this up then because I'm trying to watch that.
Hold on. They call that a strike? Yo, I don't be understanding what's a strike and what's not. But I think you got to see him in person. Not see him in person, but like to understand maybe how like he be hitting the ball, but it don't look like it's like he's swinging hard, but he yanks the bitches.
Dog, the best hitters are the ones that make it look easy. The best hitters are the ones that make you say, I think I can do that. Like when Bryce Harper hits a home run, you can tell he put everything in hitting a home run. But like Mike Trout, Ohtani, like a home run, it's like, but you really wasn't swinging though.
Yeah.
Poor Mike Trout. I feel so bad for him. But he got his money, so.
Kyle, I want to get your thoughts. Give me your thoughts. You're at the top of the standings in the region. I mean, in the Dynasty League. Give me your thoughts on your team and where you're at right now, brother, if you can. Woof. Hey, he not walked him. He struck him out. I can tell you the Las Vegas Horned Ducks. I think we've lost 2 in a row. No, we just lost 1 in a row. Listen, we go as Josh Allen goes. We need some help.
Oh no, Mr. Big Stuff. You was out here popping off. Glad.
No, I still feel good about it. What's going on is Dontavian Wicks is not who I need him to be. And Malik Neighbors was injured last year. So I have to remember, last week, I have to remember that. Cole Kmet, I wish I can get some more productivity out of him. But Josh Allen right now too, as well. I don't know, but I still like this team. I still think this team is capable of making that playoff push and getting us back to the postseason after last year.
Okay.
Now, Ronald Isley's tax returns. I don't know why you're talking. You've only scored less than a full point more than me with your team.
Half of my team was on a bye last week. Legitimately.
I'm talking about points. I'm talking about points for. Your points for is only half a point higher than mine.
Yeah, and that's with half my team on a bye last week.
Oh, please.
All right, man. All right.
Kyle says he loves CeeDee Lamb, but he wants to get another top-tier wide receiver.
Same, Kyle. I've been chasing 2 elite wide receivers for a very long time.
Honestly, who's selling tight ends? Pause.
I got plenty, but y'all don't want to do business with me. Y'all keep looking at me like I'm crazy. I got plenty tight ends. Don't nobody want to talk to me.
Oh, wow. All right. Mookie Betts with a not touchdown, with a home run, I believe. Yep, Mookie Betts, home run. All right, let's talk because I'm in the market for a tight end. I don't know if Cole Kmet's going to do it. You have Dalton Kincaid, Dallas Goedert, Dalton Schultz, Okongwu. Might be interested in trading for. He barely missed it too. I'm curious to see what the price is for Dallas Goedert and what the price is for Trey McBride.
I don't have Trey McBride. Oh, Kyle does. Price of Dallas Goedert gone up a little bit.
Listen,
but
I have a couple of 3rd-round picks in next year's draft.
Not interested in that.
I also have some wide receivers.
You have a 2nd-round pick in this year's draft.
Nah, that's not going anywhere. I also got some younger. I have a younger wide receiver room. If anyone is interested in maybe taking a chance on a younger wide receiver that you know what I mean that you think has potential down the road, Duntavian Wicks, Javon Baker, Jermaine Burton, Roman Wilson, Troy Franklin, Tajay Spears could maybe get dealt for the right price.
Okay, but I have Tony Pollard, so
Devon A-Chain is still on my team.
I'm not trading back for Devon A-Chain. I'll think about it. Would you be interested in Dalton Schultz?
No, not really.
So just Dallas Goedert's all because Dalton Kincaid is not going anywhere.
Yeah, I don't want Dalton Kincaid.
That's fair.
Kyle, you know what I mean, for Trey McBride. I don't know, man. Kyle got some dogs on his team.
Kyle has a great team.
How we get here? How did we get here with Kyle?
Kyle's a smooth GM.
He's a smooth GM.
You know that.
He's a smooth GM. Listen, I'm in the market for some tight end, and I might just need some flex players. Chase Brown, man, I'm trying to trade Chase Brown.
You want Christian Watson back?
No, but I might trade with your cousin Jason for Chase Brown.
Good luck. He left me on red a couple times. I did not appreciate that.
For real?
Yeah. Offered him a great package. He turned me down.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Hey, yo.
I'm sorry. Do you want to hear this trade I offered him that he said no to?
All right, talk to me.
I offered him Dallas Goedert and his second round pick, giving it back to him next year for Josh Jacobs. And he told me no.
Dallas Goedert for who?
Dallas Goedert and Jason's. I have his second round pick next year. I was going to give him his second round pick back in Dallas Goedert for Josh Jacobs. And he told me no. Is that a bad trade? Is that a bad offer? Because y'all always accuse me for being a shitty trader. Is that a bad offer?
Okay, say it one more time.
I would get Josh Jacobs. I would have gotten Josh Jacobs. Mm-hmm. He would have gotten Dallas Goedert in his second round pick next year because I have his second round pick. I was going to give him his second round pick back.
He told you no?
He told me no and then came back and said he'd give me Josh Jacobs for my first round pick next year.
That is Josh Jacobs worth a first round pick next year?
No, he is not.
Sure?
I thought I made a very fair deal and he turned it down.
I'm about to send him a trade right now.
Kyle, you would say that's not a great offer, Dallas Goedert in a second for Josh Jacobs? I might have thrown in another second round pick. But when he came back with that first round pick for Josh Jacobs, I said, nah, I'm good.
I just sent him a trade offer right now, and I'm going to tag him.
Well, what's the offer?
I don't know if I should say it right now. Because I feel like you might. Because if I say it, you're going to send him a trade too.
I'm not sending that. I almost said the N-word. I ain't sending that mug nothing.
But I'm trying to get a tight end from him.
Okay. Well, whatever you ask, he going to try to gouge you. Y'all talk about me. Him and Greg be price gouging.
Talk to me about Dallas Goedert.
I mean, Dallas is what he is in that offense. Like I said, I am just intrigued to see what it looks like. Like, does this look like the Packers offense?
What do you think of these IDPs in our league? Are you still a fan? How's your IDP been?
I am a fan. And Cal said he has 10 tight ends, but none of them are good. Yeah, he does have Njoku, Andrews, and Conklin, but they ain't doing nothing for him. But I get your point, and he okay. I hear
he ain't doing it for him, man.
I hear you, Kyle. I got you. I like the IDPs. Like all it takes is I don't know. I kind of liked, and I know we're going to get rid of them, but I kind of like the strategy of thinking, okay, how can I get an edge in this? Right? Because most of the time, people just put in edge rushers as their IDPs, which isn't a bad idea if you have an elite pass rusher. Like I have TJ Watt and Nick Bosa, but I don't play both of them because, like, who makes the most plays on defense? Linebackers.
True.
Linebackers and safeties are your biggest playmakers on defense more times than not. Like who gets the most tackles in the game? It's most of the time it's a linebacker.
And they're all they have the opportunity to rush the passer, get the tackle, or get the interception. So
yeah, and if a linebacker catches a pick, there's a good chance they could take it to the house, depending on down and distance and certain things. But I just kind of like the strategy of that. How can I get an edge with IDPs? Anybody want Nick Bosa, by the way?
Nobody want no damn Nick Bosa, man.
All right, I'm just asking.
Speaking of which, I'm currently trying to make some transactions right now for some IDPs. I'm about to pick up. Let me tell you something. The Las Vegas Horned Ducks are going to be in the postseason this year, and we are going to win.
Okay.
We are going to win, damn it.
That's nice.
All right, Danny, let the people know where to find you, man. We've had a great show. This is I love talking to you every Tuesday, man. You know that.
It's my favorite time of the week. You can find me on the Bird app at Danny Ocean 41. You can find us Speak On It Pod, Speak On It _pod, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. D, where can the people find you, and where can we find your great mixes?
Listen, you can find me at Los D Mix on, that's LOSDEEMIX on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, Mixcloud, Twitch. And you can just find me with your neighborhood Spider-Man because we're hanging. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you were here with us tonight. Hey, let me tell you something. Did you know DaBaby dropped a new project recently, and it wasn't bad at all?
Really? That's shocking.
Wasn't bad at all, personally. Kyle, as usual, thank you for pulling up. Bam, thank you for pulling up. Akili, thank you for pulling up. To everyone who's been listening and always tagging us in tweets, we really appreciate it. And if you so happen to hear this and you're not able to, check us out when you hear this, just make sure you tag us in tweets saying you heard us. We love it. We see y'all. As usual, guys, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you were here with us tonight. We want to shout out the great folks over at the GoingFor2 Network. I've been kicked out of the group chat for a while now. I wonder if I can ever come back or
That's
no.
a great question.
Am I ever allowed back or no? Because I'll be having some fantasy questions.
The op is still in there.
He still is?
I think so. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't. It's muted, to be honest.
Yo, can you go ahead? Just have me back in that mug.
I don't know if I can.
All right, just hit Jeff on the lobes. Like, yo, put Darius back in the chat.
Okay.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen,